TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What did you think of the stipulation where you had to renounce the U.S. flag when you did that whole angle?
Well, right after that, the company went under, and plus, it's not like we have a lot of heat with Canada.
That's what I always wondered. It was always just
it's Canada. It's not like Slaughter joined in Iraq. It's Canada. And nowadays, I work a lot up in Canada. But that was the deal. They did the janitor deal. That didn't work. I really feel they just trying to kill me off and get me out of my contract. And they said, "Well, you got to join Team Canada." I said, "Well, okay, whatever. Cut your beard and shave your hair." I said, "Well, if you don't, you're in breach of your contract." So I cut my hair and shaved my beard, and I'm out there with Lance Storm. And Lance is a great physical talent, but he's on the microphone going, "May I please have everyone's attention?" And I'm walking around behind him with my 2x4 going, "Oh, shut your mouth!" And they pull me in the office and say, "Hacksaw, you're taking away from Lance." I'm like, "Well, I can't help it if the kid can't carry the ball, brother. I got to be Hacksaw. I got to do my deal. If he can't, if I'm overshining Lance, stick guns on his shoulders or something. No major guns, right?"
Well, what do you think of Lance Storm outside the ring?
Lance is a nice young guy. Yeah, nice young man.
What do you think of the whole Misfits in Action gimmick? With General
Erection and stuff? Yeah, I've thought, then they're trying to compete with Vince doing Vince's product. You can't compete with Vince on USA Network when you're on a Turner Broadcasting. You just can't. You can't do it. So, though it showcased some great talent, Hugh Morris, and Major Guns. That's a huge talent. Yeah, but I thought that was just a whole change in direction for the company.
You and Bill DeMott, you guys have kind of a close relationship, right? Or
kind of, yeah. We live in the same town. Yeah, I know Bill pretty well.
Yeah, what do you think of him outside the ring?
Bill's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good talent in the ring. I wouldn't say we're best friends, but we're acquaintances. Yeah.
Did you watch any of that Tough Enough that he was on, or
no?
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of folks ask me, "Say you watch wrestling?" I said, "That'd be like a butcher watching him cut meat on his day off. That's the last thing I want to watch is wrestling."
Going back to the Team Canada thing, did you voice any opinion like you didn't want to do it, or were you just looking at the paycheck at the time? Or
no, of course, I was one of the few baby faces that never turned heel. Once I became a baby face, it was a drastic change for me. Of course, cutting my hair and shaving my beard and all that. I put up as much of a fight as I could, but bottom line, they had creative control of my contract. Either that or forfeit your contract.
Yeah, who did you really butt heads with over that whole thing?
Bischoff Russo.
What did they say to you when you were like, "This whole thing's stupid"?
I'm sorry?
Well, if you went to them and said like, "Hey, this whole thing's stupid for me to cut my hair after all these years and everything," what did they come back and say?
It was either that or not being part of the program. So again, at that point, I'm saying, well, no matter what they do, put me on camera. We'll get the character over, And of course, but I think kind of backfired on them because they were looking for heat, and I think most folks were just disappointed. They're like, instead of going, "Oh, Hacksaw, what have you done?" They're like, "Oh, Hacksaw, what have you done?"
It was the wrong kind of heat.
Wrong kind, yeah.
Okay. Was it tough for you to have to make those changes after all those years, like work-wise?
No, not really. I mean, if you're in the ring, you're in the ring. It was just different having the people boo you. It's okay if you have everybody boo. Just when you're a baby face and you have just that little group booing you, like, "Hey, wait a minute, what's going on there?" If the whole crowd's booing you, then that's one thing.
What about your memories of the angle where you kidnapped Major Guns and tried to make her join Team Canada? Do you remember that at all?
A little bit. And like I said, that was just a whole deal, trying to do the TNA deal. They got Guns out there. Of course, it was a porno star, I believe, or something like that. And I go along with the program, right? That I thought that was the right direction for the company. No.
Okay. What do you think of
labor management? I have a lot of control of which way the company goes.
Yeah, I mean, would they, if you went to them to debate not to do the gimmick and stuff, would they even debate with you, or would they just say do it or give up your contract?
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of debate. Yeah, it wasn't like that clean cut, but I mean, you knew what was happening. Right?
Yeah,
it was either that or just not work. I mean, my last year with WCW, I worked 60 days. And I made more money than I did when I worked with Vince when I worked for 300 days. and I've got I got a family to support.
Were you frustrated or had any resentment towards the company at that time, or were you just looking at the
One of the
paycheck?
worst times I've had in the business. The young guys, I was one of the last of the old timers in WCW. Everybody else had left. Macho, Hogan, they were all gone. All the old school boys that were there were gone. Nasty Boys, everybody was gone. It was very hard for me. Guys like Ernest the Cat Miller, who really believed their own press and thought they were big stars, though they can't even get booked, a lot of them. It was a hard time.
Did any of the younger guys like show you respect or try to learn the old school ways from you, or?
No, not too much. No, not nearly as much as working on the independent circuit, where you got young boys that are very, very respectful and appreciate what you do. What you got happened in WCW, you had guys that were new to the business that were making big money and thought they would make big money forever, instead of realizing that Bischoff just kind of was, like the kung fu deal or whatever they did. And now, of course, like I said, they're looking for work and they're selling their homes.
Do you think any of those guys would have a chance in like the old Watts territory or anything like that?
Jerry the Wall, somebody like that, might make it. Yeah, big, legitimate, tough boy. But Ernest the Cat Miller get chewed up. Dean Malenko wouldn't even be allowed in the building.